Hello everyone, I'm back again with another video. So in today's video, we're going to build a basic GoLang server and we're going to use that server to serve our HTML file and we will see how to make some changes in that. This is a basic guide on how to get started with HTTP and GoLang. So let's get started. So to begin with, I'm going to open my PowerShell. And then we'll have to make a directory for our project. I'm just going to go into the E drive and I'll just make a directory called, I'll just write go server. I made a server, then let's just go into that, and finally I will open it in VS Code. So we all know that these are the basics. I just made a folder, I went into it and opened that folder in VS Code. Now let's start with making our GoLang server. So in GoLang, we start our project, or the program starts with a file called main. So I'm going to write main.go and I'm going to make it so main.go is created. And in a GoLang, each each code snippet is a part of a package, and the package that has the main function, that is, in if you're familiar with C, there is int main. That is the main function. Is that main function has the package called package main. So I'll have to write package main and I'll have to start the main function. Main function means the function where the program executes. I'll write func main because in GoLang it is func, not function. So a basic module is created. Then to create an HTTP server, we will write HTTP dot listen and serve. Right as I could do that and save, if we have the proper extension for Go in VS Code, we will get the proper imports. It is an inbuilt function .net/http. This will provide us with the functions that we require in making a server or a backend. And this takes two arguments. We can just see what those are. So it's just loading. The first argument is we have to define the port. The port is usually 8080, or if you're familiar with using Django, we can use the port 8000 as well. See, it requires one address string and also a handler, HTTP handler. The HTTP handler, there are custom HTTP handlers that we can build, but if you put nil, it will use a mux server that is the default in GoLang. So the first thing we did was create a package main, and inside that we had our func main, and inside that we made our HTTP server that will listen to this port using the default server. Now I'm going to create an index.html. So this is the basic HTML file. I'm going to use emmet to get the basic structure. I'll just write GoLang server and in h1 I will write hello world. I think it's common for everyone when learning a new thing. The first thing we do is printing hello world. Now let's try to execute this HTML file. To do that, we need to make a handler function. A handler function is http dot handle func. This takes a pattern. The pattern means, if you're familiar with Django, we will use our URL patterns. What pattern we will do that? So here the pattern slash, it means the current port 8080. And there we will need a views. In Django we have a separate view, but in here we will make that views here itself. It is a func, and there is already some inbuilt function that will take two arguments. The two arguments are w.http response writer. This will help us to write a response to that page, and har.http.request. This will help us to get post, get, methods, etc. If you want more details, we can just read it out. So inside this we are going to put this template into a basic variable tmplt. Just a simple name is equal to, this is assignment operator in GoLang. This is colon and equal to. That means we don't have to specifically specify what type it is. And after that we use template dot must. Template is also an utility in GoLang that when we save it, it automatically gets imported. I use template.must. Template.must is basically used for error handling. It is a helper function that will wrap our template, and it will panic. In GoLang, panic means it will throw an error and shut down. When what happens, when if there is some error in parsing our HTML file, and inside that we can use template dot parse files, and which file we are going to parse? Index.html. So I'm going to parse this index.html to it, and after that we will have to execute that template dot execute, and this execute will take one writer. The writer we have is w, and also one more thing this requires. The other thing is basically similar to the context we used to pass in Django. In Django we used to have context. The context is things that we will use to put some data from backend to the frontend. For this example, I am not going to put any context, so it will be nil. So this is the basic structure. Now let's try to run it. Let's open the terminal. It is control plus tilde in the keyboard, or we can just open the terminal from here. And after that, to run this we will use go run main.go. After running, let us try to open it. We will just try to go to the port 8080. Let me see if there are any errors. So yeah, no errors are there. We were able to parse it. We were able to get our hello world there. We got our hello world. If we change it to hello GoLang, it will change. Now let's try a simple thing more. I'm going to try to get my name into the front end. Name is equal to th. So I'm going to try to get this name into the front end. So to do that, I will pass it as a context, and in here I will type h2 your name is. Similar to Django, we will use a double curly braces, and inside that we will simply put a dot. Now this dot will take this name directly, and it will parse it. So to do that, we'll have to close it and run it again. If we make any changes in the backend, we have to close it and run the program again. Let's try. So your name is Ramit. It is also printed. And now let's try a simple thing more. In GoLang, we can type, instead of a single variable, we will return whole details. Like we can create a type struct, type person struct. Struct, if you are familiar with C, you know what a struct is. Struct is basically a different type of data that we create. It can have name and name, and the type should be string, and age. This type should be, I'll write this type is string as well for simplicity. And now I will create a person. Person is equal to person, and inside that name equal to Remit, and age 25. The type should be correct. And I will pass this person here. So now we are passing a struct. That means we inside the struct we have specific different you can say key and values. So to access that, instead of just putting a dot, I will put dot name to get the name, and in another h2 your age is, we will put one dot and we will access the age. So let's try to run this, close the server and run it again. Hello. We got it. So this was a basic introduction to GoLang. So I hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.